So let's sort out the icons and stuff like that. So when we return we get a current inventory item, we return this array of items. Let's make a function that, and actually let's make a blueprint function library, so we have this function available for everyone if they want to call it. So BPF for blueprint function library, or BPFL maybe, and we'll call it inventory because we'll have functions related to the inventory here. So going in there, let's create a function called update items from data table. That seems descriptive enough. And we'll have an input that's going to be of sitem info, and we're going to be receiving an array of these. So we'll call this items to update, and we'll add an output, and we'll call this updated items. So in between here we're going to actually call the data table, find out the information, and funnel it further. So what we'll start by doing is we go through each of these elements in the array, and then we get data table row, and we choose the data table for items, and we get the array element, and we break that item info, and we expand this. We take the item class, no, not item class, the item name, and we'll toString this, and we'll connect it like so, and then we'll hide down connected pins, give ourselves a little bit more room. So now we're getting all the information for each row here. But now we need to update the information that we're actually getting here. So we'll start off by breaking this because we need to have all of the data available to us. And after that we need to take this array that we're getting, and we'll get a reference, and it's more important that it's a reference because that means it will update if we're doing changes, and we'll make sure that the array index from the loop is sent in here. Give ourselves a little bit more space again, and then we'll say set numbers for this one. We'll put it over here, add on reroute node, and then we'll make sure to funnel everything in here that's of importance. So name is not important, description, icon, item class, amount is not important, max stack or item, and item mesh. So the name we don't want to change because that's our key that we're using. So we're sending in the description, the icon, and the item class. The amount is the amount that it actually is going to have here already, so we don't want to change that. And then the max stack and the item mesh, and then we'll hide the rest, like so. And then we'll just send the information out, like so. That doesn't work. We have the array down here. So we'll just send in since we update it immediately with a reference, then we can just send in the same table that we get in, because then it's updated by the time it gets there. So there we are. So now we can go to our chest and we can just say update items data table, and we'll shoot that one in there, shoot that one in there, and we'll connect these. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to press. It's fine. So let's try again then. So now we're putting up our inventory, we're putting up the other inventory. We can remove this breakpoint for now. We'll resume, and you can now see, okay, we cannot see that all of it worked. The mana potion is not working for some reason. And the health potion is functional to move, and the mana potion is not. So let's find out what we have done. Let's start off by checking the actual chest. So the chest has a health potion of 3, it has a mana potion of 4. Nothing else needs to be set because we should be getting it from the data table. So something is going wrong here, so let's add a breakpoint. And let's debug. So here we go, and we check that, and we show hide inventory. We actually, this is not what we're interested in. We don't want to interact with, we want the get current inventory items, this one. So we'll set a breakpoint here, so we'll just resume. Then we end up here. We go in here, we have a current items that says we have a health potion of 3 and a mana potion of 4. It seems reasonable. We go through here and our output is that it updated the first only. Okay, I must have done something stupid like, yeah. So this is a loop, which means that we have our return at the first loop entry, which is bad, because we want the loop to actually go through all of the stuff. So what we want to do is actually this, we want to have the loop down on the completed. Like so. And that should be it. So we'll remove these breakpoints because I'm super confident that this will work. So now you see that we have these potions, we can move them around however we want in our inventory. And in addition to that, we are also able to actually move them over to our inventory over here. And if we close these inventories down, again, you can see it still exists here. However, this inventory doesn't hide when I press F for some reason, so we're gonna have to check that. But yeah, so you can see that we're actually able to move them between inventories, and I can also drag and drop them from here and they'll spawn into the world. I can, however, not take this item and drag it out here because it won't spawn anything, so that's also something we need to check out. But let's start with the issue with not hiding the chest. So let's go to our blueprint component, and we'll not here the show inventory, add a breakpoint. And we'll do this and we'll show it. So that's the external one, then we'll internal one, and then we'll run the external one, and we'll resume and we'll press F again. Actually, no, it's not working. So we're coming in here. We say it's an external one. We check if the reference is alright. We go to change inventory visibility. And in here we check is this visible or not, and it says it is not hit testable. Okay, so we open up our inventory container. So it said that this was not hit testable, and that's accurate. Let's put this at let's see here. We start off by having it hidden, right? I think this will have bad consequences for the other inventory. So we see the inventory there appearing. You see the inventory there appearing. Pressing F again. You see this one disappearing. Press I. You see that one disappearing. Okay, it seems to be working fine. Let's just double check by removing this. And resuming. Okay, so we can drag these, close down these, they'll still be saved. So now we need to check why is it not spawning a item on the floor when we drag it off the chest. So let's go back to our inventory container where we have this inventory item dropped, and we set a breakpoint over there, and let's play and open up both of our inventories. So we get the call over here at least, so it says that it should call the item dropped. So let's go to the blueprint component and let's see, where is it? Item drop detected, this one. A breakpoint, resume. We're getting here as well. We're coming here. We say we are supposed to be dropping a mana potion, which is correct. We try to spawn an actor at the location of the actor component, which is 300, 300 and 300 approximately, which should be where the chest is with this item info. That all seems good. Why is that not working then? Because this is the chest. Oh, it is working. So it is spawning the item right there. Which means that we should be able to pick it up now here, because the sphere here is supposed to symbolize the mana potion. And there we get the mana potion. Okay. So now we have the functionality of actually having multiple inventories that we can have. And all you need to do to add it to a different actor or to a loot sack or whatever you wanted to have, you just add the blueprint component, make sure to have a current items available and have it populated with whatever this is supposed to be having, either in runtime or by defaulting it, of course, and then making sure that it's returning the current items by calling on the blueprint function library method here. So it seems fully functional now. Let's just see if we can manage to get the issue with the steering to go away. I'm going to try it on a different computer and see if the issue persists. So after trying the project on a different computer, I noticed that there was no issue with the mouse steering, so it's just this computer, because I have a little bit of a weird setup on this one, so that's probably what's causing it. So I'm gonna assume that there's nothing erroneous with the code. With that said, I want to say thank you if you've stayed to watch this far into the series. I will try to put together a summary, sort of going through how things work in the last episode, and try to walk you through how things work. And I'll try to find some place to host the project, so if you just wanted to take the project and dissect it and learn how it functions, or take it and build on it, or whatever you want to do, you can do that. And then the last episode will hopefully just be like the instructional how to understand it. So if you don't want to follow along and build the whole thing with me, then you can do that. Let's just finish off with some quick functionality about the different things. Let's create some actual use of the items, the consumables that we have, so that the mana potion gives you mana and the health potion gives you health and stuff like that. So we'll just create some quick variables to allow for that. So we have current health, and we'll make that a float. And then we will create another variable, and we'll call that max health. We'll create another variable, we'll call that current mana, and we'll make another one called max mana, of course. And then in addition to that, we'll create some simple functions. So change health, it will allow a float in, and we'll just say health change. So our health change plus our current health, which we will clamp, not clamp angle, but clamp float, and it should be between 0 and max health. And we'll set it as our current health. So we have a very simple health system in place. And then we'll return from there. Then we'll duplicate that. Change the name to change mana. And we'll change the input to mana change. And instead of current health, we'll take current mana. Instead of max health, we'll take max mana. Instead of current health over here, we'll set current mana. Okay, so. And then we'll clean it up a little bit. And then we'll just make something simple to display how much mana we have. We'll just make a simple key press, keyboard G, and we'll just print out 2 prints, and we'll make this an append. We'll create one over here as well. So then the first one will say current health. Then we'll have our current health over here, and we'll send that in there. So here we'll say current mana, and actually like so. And in addition to that, we want to send the current mana, of course, like so. So then we have something basic that we can just check. What is our current mana, health, etc., etc. So we'll set the health to 15. We'll set the max to 100 as default values. This is just random things. Let's take 40 for mana, and let's say 200 max, something like that. So now we have that in place. So what we want to do is have some ability to actually interact with the items. So let's go to our item. No, let's create a blueprint. Let's make a blueprint interface. We'll call this BPI item. And we'll make a use item function in here, like so. And let's send in a player controller. Player using item. So then we can go to our items. Not entirely sure if I want this input yet, but we'll see. Where is our BP? We want to go to our pickup item, the base class, the item pickup, this one, and make sure that it is using this interface as well. So we can tell it that it should be doing something with the items. This means that all our children classes get it as well. So we can go to the help potion, and we can go and we can say in its interface to use item, implement it, and then we say controlled con, and we should probably make an interface for this, but let's be a little bit, so this doesn't take unnecessarily much amount of time. Let's just cast this to a third-person character, since this has been going on for a while already, and it might be a little bit too long for some people. From here we know that we have a change health ability or function. And then we'll just make a variable in this that says amount health restored. And this as well could be something that is actually, let's do that proper. We'll put it in here for now. It's going to be a lot of changes if I do. But what I'm trying to say is basically, to explain it, is in the data table, actually in the structure that the data table uses, so the item info, we could have something like a last variable here saying power or something like that. And this could be something that's generic, and it could be a float. So that when you read the information about the health potion, for example, in the data table, then it would check what is my power. And let's say we said that a health potion should have a power of 50, then we could, when the item is being used over here, we could get its power from the information in here and use that in the item info here that we have inherited from the parent. We could take that out and just use the parent as the health change that we're supposed to be using. So that's one way to make it like even more flexible. That means that you can change how much mana and different health and mana potions should be giving you, and you can have like different tiers of mana and health potions and such things. Yeah, so let's say this one restores 25. So, and when we go to our mana potion, there, we find its interface, use item, and since these are on individual items, it's the BP mana potion, BP health potion, and then you make all the other children that you want for all kinds of other consumables and items. They would all be implementing the same interface, but each different class you can define what they're supposed to do. So now we're in the mana one, we can do the same thing, we cast a third person character, but now instead of increasing health, then we would be changing the mana instead. And equally you could have checked then the power that we talked about instead of doing what I'm doing now, which is creating a local variable for it. Like so. And then let's say 100 for that one. So this one will be restoring 100 mana, the other one is restoring 25 hit points, and we have different starting points and stuff like that. So now we just need to actually interact with this. So let's go back to our slot. Where do we have our slot? Inventory slot. And since we want to do this differently from when we're moving around, we might want to go to our mouse button down, and we might want to check instead of this part where we had before, where we were checking if the left mouse button was down, we can now instead check if right mouse button is down instead at this point. And oh, sorry, it's supposed to be this input here. So we'll do a branch over here. Change this to right mouse button. So go in there. If it is false, we'll do with this one again. If it is true, then we'll do this one. And if it is right mouse button, what are we gonna do? We're gonna be using the item. So this is where we need to determine how to transfer that information. So what we do is we take the item info and we spawn actor class like so. And as class, we use the break of the item info because we have the class name over here, like so. And we use our item info to get that information like so. And then we want to use item, the interface, if we can. Now the problem becomes we need to know which is the player right now. And what's this? Spawn transform invalid. Yes, that is true. Split that. And after we've done this, we are not really wanting to do much else. We want to destroy the actor, like so, and we also want to reduce the amount of item info. So and we want to expose amount, and we want to get this amount and reduce it by 1. Set that as our new amount. Yeah, like so. That should probably be fine. So we're spawning an actor and we're saying use it, so that means that depending on what kind of class it is, it will use its own specific use item, and then we will destroy it because we don't want it in the world after that, and then we will update the structure of the widget. We'll need to update the widget also so it visually represents how many items are actually left, and this will probably cause issues also if we had one item and used it, because we end up on 0 and we have no code to handle that. So we'll take it one thing at a time. Let's start with the player. We need to tell it which player is using the item. How do we do that? So I'm thinking maybe we want to change this like this. Let's go to the blueprint interface and change it from a player controller to a pawn instead. So only pawns can use this. Then we'll say pawn using item instead. Then we'll go back to, well, we need to go back to both the health potion, because now it's no longer going to be needing this part, because we don't need to cast to what is it complaining about? Cannot override BPI. Oh, let's go to our item pickup. I have too many things. I need to close some things down. And there we go. So there we compiled the parent. This should make the potion, health potion, be okay. And with that done, we'll go to the mana potion and we will remove this one as well. And just plug it in like so. And then what we'll do, we'll just make a simple check in here to make sure that, because actually we could have, I'm changing my mind again now here. Let's do this. Get owner, I think. Oh, owner. Own. There we can. We can get the owning player, but we can also get owning pawn. We'll just do this. Let's see if this works. There might still be an issue with it not disappearing properly, or where it's just setting the amount but not removing the icon, but let's see if this works. That does not work. BPC inventory is not happy. Let's check our compile and see what it complains about. Okay, just needed a compile. That's weird. should have been compiled when we press play. Anyway, so we go over here, we press that, we get a health potion over here. Let's press G to see our mana and our health. Then we right click on this one and we can see that the potion went down to 0. We can see that our health went up from 50 to 75, so it works. It's just this that needs updating now. And we can do that easily by going to our inventory slot over there and make sure that when we're updating it, if the value is ever below 0 or 0, then we should not only hide the number, we should also be setting the item info to something neutral or something like the standard. So we'll just do this, we'll set numbers. We're actually setting the text first, that is unfortunate. Let's do this then. Let's have it as an initial check. So if this amount is less than equal to 0, then we want to set the item info to something neutral. So we'll go like this. Just trying to clean it up a little bit so it makes a little bit more sense. But if it is less than equal 0, then we first want to do this, and then we want to continue with this. Otherwise, we want to go do this immediately. And here we just set the values to the defaults, like so. So we have a name that's blank, description that's dummy, icon, everything like that is the default. Let's see how this works out. Then we open it up and we use it, and we can see that it disappeared, and we can check and see that we've gotten more health. And if we go over here and get a shit ton of health potions and press G, we have 75, 100, 100. No amount of drinking potions works because our max health is 100, but we can still consume them if we want to. Yeah. That is all for this episode. Hope to see you in the next one. Keep on learning,